In this lesson, you'll learn how to place photos or graphics into a project that you've created from scratch. So I've gone ahead and closed out those other projects that we started and just have this social post 1000 by 1000 pixel project. There's lots of different ways to add a photo to this project. Probably one of the easiest is if you open up your documents or your Finder and you find a photo, and on a Mac I can select a photo, for example, and then just tab back over to Photoshop, which for a Mac is Command Tab, and then you can go through. For a PC it's probably Control Tab, and then I still am clicking and holding that image, and I can just drop it into my project like so. So now that photo is in my project. It's still in sort of a temporary place mode. It's wanting me to actually drop it somewhere, so I can move it around with the move tool. I can resize it, so if I take these corners and move it up and down, it resizes, or in any of these sort of handles on the corners or in the center, click and move it around. Only until I press the return key on my keyboard does it actually place it and kind of like drop it into the project. So you'll see when I press return, there it's now on my project, and I can then go about editing it or adding other layers or photos. Another way you can place an image is going to the File, Place Linked option. Click Place Linked, go to your folder, you can find another photo, and then click Place. And again, it adds it to the project. And you see that it automatically sizes it as close as possible to the project or the canvas that you've started. So you can see that it matches the width and height of this project. If you want it smaller or bigger, again, you can kind of move it around and just press the return key to place it, because now you can see if I'm kind of moving around and I try to go to the bird, for example, it's not going to let me. You see that my mouse turns into this rotate option where I can rotate this image if I want, and this happens when I hover outside of the image. I can press Command Z to undo anything. The other thing you might want to know is there are a couple keyboard shortcuts that are handy. So if you are rotating, if you hold the Shift key down, it kind of locks it to some specific rotations, and you can see the degree of rotation hovering next to my mouse as I do this. See, it's 15, goes back to 0, -15, etc. It locks it to those, it's I guess every 15 degrees instead of just a free-for-all. So that's going to help, especially if you have an image and you want to rotate it exactly 90 degrees. Another keyboard shortcut to note is the Shift button. If you click any of the handles, which are these little blocks around the edge that you use to resize an image, it allows you to stretch and skew this image. If I'm not holding the Shift button, it locks it to that aspect ratio, and you can see that after I kind of squished it and then I undo the Shift button, it now locks it to that aspect, and you can still resize it, but I'm going to undo that because I don't want to mess with the aspect of this. A couple more are the Option or Alt key. So if you're clicking any of these handles, and if you hold the Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC, see how it scales from the center? That's a super handy one to note. If you hold the Command button on a PC, that would be Control, and you click any of these edges, it warps just that handle or from that corner or whatever. So you can get super funky with this. It does the whole side or top if you click the center handle. But if you do click the corner with the Command button selected, it locks the other handles and allows you just to warp that sort of side or that corner of the image. So again, you can get creative with that. The one that I use the most is the Option key that allows me to scale from the center. And then finally, press Return to put this photo and kind of actually place it into this project. You'll notice as I do that, our layer panel starts to get filled up. There's a complete section coming up on the layers panel on how to how to use this, but you can kind of start to see what's happening. The bird is below our boy. And a quick sneak peek is you can move these layers up and down. So now we have our bird on top of our boy. Cool. So that's pretty much how you place photos and graphics. This is the same if you're adding any sort of logos or PNG graphics with transparent backgrounds. It's the same process of just placing it in the project. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson.